really tough time for America. And it made me reflect on how the country has gone over the last 8 years. Look, I'm a Democrat, okay? And I don't apologize for that. Some of you out here may be Democrats, some of you may be Republicans, and some of you may be independent, but I didn't start out to be a Democrat, if that's any help to you. It just happened this way. And there's a reason for it, and I want to describe what it is so that regardless of what your party affiliation is, you can see where I'm coming from. I went into West Point, I was 17 years old, and I wanted to serve my country. It was 1962 when I went in, and the United States was under real threat from the Soviet Union. And there was a draft, and everybody had a military obligation, every man did. And you were going to go into the Army one way or another, so you really had only to choose between whether you were going to go in as an officer or an enlisted man. And then if you were going to be an officer, you may as well do it right and go to West Point. And so that's what I did. And I think I voted in most of the elections, but I never gave a penny to a political candidate. I never felt any real kinship to any political candidates or any political officials. In fact, my first experience on Capitol Hill was I was a cadet and I won a Rhodes Scholarship, and the colonel at West Point took me down to sort of parade me and show me off to some of the congressmen. I remember we got on an elevator in the United States Senate building, and there was a Senator Wayne Morse who was from Oregon at the time. He was a very anti-military guy. He was a strong Democrat. He was the first one to oppose the Vietnam War. And this was 1966. And I was in a cadet uniform, and he came into the elevator. He saw me, and then he backed up into me and promptly put his foot on the toe of my shoe, which I had just spit shined so I could look good. So I went through the rest of my visit with a toe that was completely rubbed raw by a Democratic senator's heel. It was my introduction to partisan politics, I guess. Not that he did it consciously, I think it just happened. But when I got out of the military, I went to Vietnam. I was a company commander in Vietnam. I commanded infantry company. I came home on a stretcher. I stayed with the Army because I believed in national security and believed in defending the country. A lot of other people got out. I remember when John Kerry got out. I remember when he made his big statement about it. A lot of my West Point friends got out. Some of them went to Harvard Business School to make money. Some of them became great lawyers. But I wanted to stay in the military. And I was lucky. Along the way, I got to help train the troops that won the Gulf War in Iraq. I commanded at every level. I ended up commanding the 1st Cavalry Division. I helped bring an end to the war in the fighting in Bosnia that killed a couple 100,000 people in the mid-1990s. I helped then make the plans for NATO enlargement. I commanded the U.S. Southern Command for a while. I went back to Europe and helped implement the peace agreement I helped write. And then I led forces that fought the campaign to end Serb ethnic cleansing in Kosovo in 1999. And then I retired. And my wife she said, don't get involved in partisan politics. She says, these Democrats will use you. So I said, honey, you're right. I'm going to meet Condoleezza Rice because I know Colin Powell, but I don't know anybody else on the Republican side. I'm going to meet Condi and see what she has to say. So I had this long meeting with Condi. She came over to my office. It was during the Bush-Gore campaign. And Condi said, you screwed up the relations with Russia. I said, me personally? He said, well, you and the Clinton administration did. You know, Putin's a good guy. He could be our friend. And we should be working with him, and you've made it impossible to work with him. So we had a little discussion on that. She said, anyway, she said, we have no business being in the Balkans. She said, that's nation-building stuff, and we don't do nation-building. She said, it's wrong. Our troops aren't peacekeepers. Our troops are war fighters. They're the only ones that can fight. And we ought to pull them out of Europe and put them where they need to fight. I said, well, where's that? She said, you know, the Middle East or someplace. So this went on for like an hour, and after it was over, I said, you know, when I went to my wife, I said, honey, I'm not saying I'm going to be a Democrat, but I can't be a Republican.